who is a surface design, had a career in surface design, and she worked in New York, but she grew up in Lincoln City. So I got to know her on the coast, and she took a group of us to Italy, and we got to see, we got to go into some of the mills that she did business with.
Oh, neat.
And it was the first time I'd done anything like that. And this trip again, it's totally different, and it's been absolutely wonderful. I've learned a lot. And
Yeah, it must be really great since you're a weaver too, and then there's so many different kinds and different looms and different, I mean, like.
Actually, the 5-day workshop at the Eliseo Foundation was very intense. I jumped into something that was a little bit over my head, but I came through it just fine. And I think the purpose of this trip was to, I think I was suffering from a little burnout, and this was a way to grow, and I think definitely that's happening. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking you have an upcoming career as a painter too. I loved your painting.
I was really surprised that jumped out, and I'm having a conversation with a friend who used to manage the Joann fabric stores in our area, and she said, "Oh, I'd love to quilt that fabric. Let's talk about you printing a fabric line, which you can do at Joann's. You know, a lot of people do it because they have photos of their kids or their grandkids." And it just kind of said, wow, that might be kind of fun. A little direction to go. But I give, my mother was a self-taught watercolorist. She loved chintz, she loved florals. And it was a little surprising to see what came out in that exercise. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
beautiful. Still takes a lot of work. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Italy is just incredible.
Yeah, Italy's a great country.
We got to see several artisans. Some of them are 7th generation artisans. Some of them have been here, their family's been doing what they've been doing since like the 15th century, which blows my mind. Right? And so the traditions that are here are pretty awesome. But not unlike the artists in the US, I think they still struggle to find a venue for what they're not always state supported or revered. It takes a lot of work to continue in those traditions.
How much longer are you there?
We're going to be here another 3 days, and then we'll get back home. Yeah.
All in Rome?
Yes, the last 3 days are in Rome.
Right.
Good to see your face. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for all your positive thoughts about the hurricane and what you've been through.
Yeah, it's been pretty harrowing, but it's not all the same, which is why I came today, because the news would make you think that the entire state's disappeared, but that's not true. So
so it's good to hear that. Yeah,
we'll see how many artists actually show up
today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I pushed it on 3 different groups plus Art Fair Insiders.
Mike, that was smart.
How many of your folks are from Florida or Southwest Florida? Any? Larry?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it would seem like everybody would be interested if they go to Florida in the winter to do shows.
Yeah, I answered somebody's post today that was on, I forget which of the forums, but who said they weren't going to didn't think they should come to Florida because the state has no, the whole state's out. And I answered it saying, please stop talking for the directors, call them and talk to them, because it's not all the same, It's a tragedy at Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel, absolute tragedy. But we're 20 miles away. We had some water, a ton of wind, trees down, some mud from the storm surge, but that'll be cleaned up in the next couple of weeks. I mean, certainly will not affect January, February, March.
Yeah, and I think artists are resilient. they've got to plan their years. So you sending out a positive message was a good thing to do.
I know. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
And,
well, it's about 11 o'clock at night here, so
yeah, right.
I'm gonna say ciao. But I did want to say hi and let you know that we're having a great time and hope to share the experience with others later.
All right.
Congratulations,
Good to
Karen.
see you.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Where is she, Lair?
Italy.
Rome.
Hey, Oscar. I thought you weren't coming.
Well, I finished my Indiana job early and they give me enough time to finish the job and claim there's just enough time to get here.
Yeah, I know. This is the most important thing you do
Oh,
on
no.
Tuesdays.
Only because Sharon,
Hi, Oscar.
how you doing? That's the
You're,
only,
you're trying to butter me up, huh?
no. I'm trying to figure out if I should go to Florida or not, you know?
Hey, absolutely.
You know, it's not a easy, at least to know what to expect and don't go there thinking there's going to be like this year that you make a lot of money and everything is nice and going, not to go there and then just be upset about it. And the other thing that, you know, more than anything else, what I worry more is about lodging. Where do you going to stay? Because I'm assuming that everybody in that area needs to stay someplace else for a long time because ours doesn't give to 6 weeks. So
That depends. You know, we have, first of all, Fort Myers Beach and Fort Myers are not the same place, aside from what CNN and MSNBC would have you believe. Because the first few days, they kept showing pictures of Fort Myers Beach and referring to it as Fort Myers. They're 20 miles apart, at least. It's devastating what happened to the beach and to Sanibel and Captiva. But that's not the inland area, right? We're inland and we're on the river, and I live on the river. Our office is on the river. But our office, for example, has no damage, none, zero, nothing.
that's
Our
awesome.
warehouse, our warehouse has no damage. Our festival site has a few downed trees, small trees, and some mud on the street from the storm surge, but that'll be gone in a couple weeks. And certainly there's people that have to live somewhere else, but we have a ton of seasonal housing, you know, because of our tourists in the winter.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that is starting to go to the people who need to live somewhere, who lost their homes. So by the time we get to season, it's probably not even going to be available anymore because people from here are living in it. But because there's people who are living here aren't going to live in the hotels. I mean, that's impractical to live in a hotel for very long. So I don't know whether hotel rates may go up in the winter. It's hard to say. But our inland hotels are all fine. You know, some of them are closed right now. They did have some water. They had some damage, but they're not like the beach hotels. The beach hotels are gone. They're physically gone. If you
Wow.
see the pictures, they're gone. So those won't be rebuilt by February, but our inland hotels are. And so I don't think if your concern is housing, I don't think that's a concern.
Okay.
We'll see, right? I mean, and I've posted on several of the artist forums and groups that to talk to the directors and talk to the shows because it's quite isolated, the damage. And so talk to us, not just Art Fest, but everybody, and ask them what it's like where they are. I mean, you get up to Tampa, for example, for Gasparilla or Winter Park, Coconut Grove, Mardi Gras, there was no hurricane there. I mean, I'm physically right now in Del Rey, and there's nothing over here. I mean, it's perfectly fine. So, I've said on some of the forums that please talk to the directors and ask them. I'm not Art Fest director, but I'm Crowley's spokesman until Catherine has time. Because it's not all the same. A lot of our sites are fine. Our volunteers are fine, our offices are fine. I think we probably will adjust our promotion some. We'll see, we've got 4 months yet. Because there's lots of people who lost what was decorating their houses, right? They don't have those anymore. So my current thought is it's gonna be this kind of the same thing as the shows that came back first after COVID. Not after, but when they were able to come back, that the demand is gonna be huge. Because people want their lives to be more normal. They wanna have back the things that they enjoy, right? So that's my current opinion. Ask me again in a month, I don't know, but right now, that's my opinion, that people are gonna wanna be depressed and sad and without artwork forever, you know, and we're 4 months out, so. And all of that, not to diminish that Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel are so sad, so
Yeah.
sad. That's my spiel. What else should we talk about, Larry?
She having a glass of wine. Look at
I
her.
am. I'm not working today.
Oh,
I'm over in Delray resting a little so that when I go back, I can give some relief to Catherine and Megan and Annie. Because they need some time off too, because they've been working straight through.
oh wow. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I need to call the Bonita show, but I don't think that they got hit that bad.
I don't think so. Our director, Catherine, lives in the Bonita area, and she never lost her power or her water. So, or her internet or anything. So, all the restaurants are open. So I'm thinking Bonita's probably in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Because they're inland too.
Because that's the only show that told me yes already, and I already paid it.
And we're during, I think, the end of this week and the first of next week. Because we had to switch off a projected because there's no way. And there's just no way. So even though we are extremely strong advocate of projected jury, there's no way. So we're doing it online with that.
Only
So we'll
five.
stay with that, whatever our schedule was, Oscar, for announcing, we're staying with whatever that schedule was. We'll be on the same announcement dates, and invitation dates.
Cool. I'm just waiting to see what happens. That's all. There's nothing I can do. I only have one show for sure now. Everything else is I'm just waiting.
Yep.
And,
Who else do you apply to?
oh, applied to Naples, New Year's year. They told me no. Then I got Bonita. Then I got another Naples that goes in the park and by somebody else. Then I got Images. I applied to your show in Boca Museum because I usually get to Boca Museum in 4
Right.
months. We get waitlisted.
Same weekend, right?
Same weekend. Then I got Bonita 2, Coconut Grove and Adi Grove because I don't know what was going to happen. South Miami.
They haven't announced yet, have they?
No.
Adi Grove, Coconut Grove, yeah.
No.
They're just jurying now too.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I know every single juror. So it's kind of bad. And then after that, South Miami. And then hopefully back to Bonita or Gasparilla. And then then I applied to the shows that I usually don't get in, but you have to apply Winter Park and Naples, the last Naples.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if I'm going to go down there and I apply to the show that I think they're going to produce money, And I don't
Yeah.
like to take gambles. I stopped doing that when I traveled alone. I just need to go with sure things. And
Well, most of us have late enough withdrawal dates. I think ours is December something by Christmas. That we'll have a much better idea, than today. So at least you have flexibility.
yeah, I also, it's not. I don't think that people grab the, if for X one reason the show don't happen or something doesn't go right, you take an income for almost 3 months for a lot of people, and not everybody gets to the big shows that they can make out the money back. Sometimes, like in my case, I depend in quality of good shows in a row. No, I don't get to. I know that people just go to Winter Park and make $30,000,
Mhm.
and then they go to Fort Myers make $30,000. I don't count on that. I just go with little by little. I do volume instead. So
Yeah, it's hard, very hard.
so I just don't know because I was talking to another friend of mine lives in Florida. She was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do for income for the next 6 months. That's how she's thinking right now. They have no idea
Mhm.
what's going to happen. They feel like this COVID all over again.
Yeah, right on top of it, right?
Oh, it's a lot
But
of
the shows don't down here don't even start till November sometime.
yeah. I know this. What is the by the it's the one by the with the launch. I forgot the name of the show. Not Cape Coral. It's when they launched the rockets out.
Oh,
Space Coast.
Ethan Averill.
Yeah, Space Coast
Yeah.
goes next week or the following weekend, and a friend of mine just drove down there just for that show. I think it's this weekend or next weekend. I don't know when it is. They told me that the land is on the water basically, so they don't
Could
even
be.
know if it's going to happen.
But that's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
That's on the East Coast, right? So
Yeah,
that's the question that's why I talk to the directors because most of the East Coast had no effect.
yeah,
There was a little bit of effect in West Palm, someplace right around here, but not a lot because Ian went up, right? So
yeah.
it went up towards Georgia and the Carolinas. So Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach didn't get much effect or any effect. So even for Space Coast, I would want to talk to the director and see what's really happening there because I wouldn't rely on the news.
Yeah,
Their motivation is disaster pictures because that's how they make money, right?
yeah, that's what I noticed because that's what I asking people that live down there because my friend Larissa, she lives in Fort Worth and Fort Lauderdale, and she said that she's fine.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Nothing happened.
Yeah,
That she's totally fine. It's just
yeah. Like I said, I'm on the East Coast right now in Delray, which is 30 miles or so north of Lauderdale. And a couple of days ago, I was in Fort Lauderdale, and there's nothing wrong here. They wouldn't even know that something happened in Florida. I mean, it's totally different. So I would talk to the shows and ask them.
I will. I definitely will. I was hoping for more people.
Yeah, quiet today, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this is what I was afraid of. This is the passive aggressive nature of artists. This is their chance to hear information firsthand.
Hey,
And I mean, I posted the information on 3 different groups in Art Fair Insiders.
yeah. And and when you posted Larry, that was the reason why I went like, okay, I really need to make it to the meeting now. Like I called the client, see if I can get there to noon so I can come down here. because I knew it was going to take me 2 hours to do the job and an hour to drive back home. So, because that's the only way you can find information. But you know,
Yeah, I mean, people have liked the posts that I made, but they didn't show up. So,
Well, we'll keep sharing information on, both through the forums but I think there's a newsletter going out in a couple days.
I appreciate that.
We'll keep sharing, but, and every time I read something on any of those places that implies that the whole state's been wiped out, or that Fort Myers is gone, or that Art Fest is gone, I will answer them, because that's just not true, and we're not gonna let that information stand, so.
You know, honestly, my sister was mad at me because I was telling her I wish that the hurricane went up above I-4 and then cut through that area.
So do we. Wish it had gone. It was supposed to go to Tampa. We wish it had gone there too. Not to wish bad things on them, but
Yeah, no, honestly, I was going like I could it go a little bit more north and it would be just fine.
or just stay in the Gulf.
or stay in the Gulf. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh well.
it happens. Everybody gets one or two.
Yeah, even we got some edge of a hurricane. The one that was off of Baja, California, which is Mexico.
Oh yeah.
We got we got a half an inch of rain, which was more than we had had the whole year up to that point.
Well, that's good also for you guys.
Yeah, but it was all in one day, so most of it ran off. So kept on saying, the drought is not over.
And that came in right after Ian, didn't it? On the West Coast, it just didn't get as much promotion or coverage.
I think it was before Ian,
Was it? It was right around that time.
but yeah,
No, the networks are East Coast centric.
yeah.
You know, the only good thing about the hurricane there was it didn't come in Cat 5. It was close, but didn't hit Cat 5.
It was 2 miles an hour less.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, we're still having wildfire season, so although the rain did seem to knock a lot of that down. They're still having them up north, I think.
So tomorrow I got a job in the morning and then I go to Philadelphia. That's going to be a pleasant drive.
How far are you from Philly, Oscar?
It's 13 hours, I think.
Lovely.
I
Well,
think
you're welcome to stop by my house.
I will keep that in mind. I'm going to leave tomorrow around 1 o'clock and I see how far I go.
Oh,
Because Carol told me I cannot set up until 6 o'clock on Thursday night and I'm going like, oh. It means I need to drive to Philadelphia and rush traffic hour, basically.
terrible.
But it should be fun. I'm looking forward to that show. To be different.
Well, what else is happening besides hurricanes?
Oh, drought.
Drought.
Elections.
Politics.
Yeah.
Elections, yeah.
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
I keep hearing things that doesn't make any sense to me, and I just keep going like if it's nothing to do with Illinois, I just turn it off.
Well, you better vote.
Yeah, I know, but you can only, what I learned from the last election, from the Trump election, it was that you can only express yourself once, you can only vote once, and that's the only thing you can do. Everything after that, win or lose your candidate, you have to wake up in the morning, go to work, and try to keep a good person, be a good person every day. If you do that, everything else should be fine. You know, there's some things that I don't like, but you know, there's nothing I can do about it. I did my part.
Yeah, but you can vote and get everybody else to vote.
Yeah, I know. I voted and I encourage everybody to vote, but everything after that is nothing else, not too much I can do about it. You know, that's the only thing I can do. Because you get too, I think you lose sight of things when you get too involved in politics. Because you don't know.
Yeah, you're speaking as a man. As a woman, it's totally different.
Oh, trust me. Since I got raised by a single mom, I really know everything that you can imagine. You know, and
I mean, women's freedom are on the line.
not only that,
Not just ours, but the next ones to go are the LGBT and the racial ones.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
They're not gonna change no, they're not.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
will. Because I
The
asked,
racial ones are not going.
you know,
Hey.
They already did what they said they wouldn't do.
yeah,
Well, the thing is, you don't have to change the law, right? Frankly, the law doesn't have to go. But if they let stand what Alabama, for example, has done on gerrymandered districts, then it might as well go. Because all of the quarter of Alabama's population that's Black no longer has a say in the government. So it doesn't matter if they change the rights, they've already done it by taking away
The,
So-
the redistricting plan is whether there are two Black districts or one when there has been one for the last 10 years. So it's not like it's going to zero. And it's not as though Black people don't vote for white people and white people don't vote for Black people.
it's not. It's more complicated than that. To be honest with you, it's just that they're always trying to suppress the vote or even if you're minority, color minority. Doesn't matter what kind of race you are. If you're a female, they don't want you to express your opinion. You basically have to do the sir mentality, the just sir, whatever you say, sir. Like back to the slavery days. Like you don't have nothing to say about it. And that does bugs me. And some people do it every day and they don't even know that they're doing it, which is it's really, really irritating. Oh. And that's what I don't talk about politics because I get really vicious because I don't have no patience whatsoever because nobody really knows what other people go through. You know, my sister worked for a company called William Blair, and according to her, they say the female partners is less than 5% of the partners, and you have to look certain kind of way to be a partner, and to advance in the company, you have to look certain kind of way. And if they cannot pronounce your name, they will not even look at your resume. So things are not changed at all. They just put it in a different way.
Well, then Frank will have a problem just because his last name is unpronounceable by most people.
This is true.
That's true. And talking to other clients, they say that's more common than you think through the entire companies and all the 500 companies. You know, they always work around certain things. You know, my dad used to say you need to do a law so you can know how to work around it, and not in a good way.
And we'll see what happens, whether
Yeah.
it's gonna continue or not, so.
Yes, I'm going to brush you because you are shedding like crazy. You know, the funny thing with my cats is as soon as you pull out the brush, they run under the bed. They disappear. Oh. So Bonnie gave me the list of things that our show directors are looking out of the poof image, and most of the stuff makes sense. I just want to let you know, Larry. Which it did make a lot of sense. Oh my God.
Well, yeah.
Man, what am I going to do with you?
Did she say if she was going to come back?
I don't ask, you know, there's certain things that you just don't ask.
She'll come back when she's ready.
Yeah,
Well, I saw one Facebook post from her. Her birthday is on Halloween.
yeah.
And she'll be 70, so she's the same age I am. I'm a few days younger than that.
She is having a tough go in the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, like she said, the top of her head blew off.
And,
It sounds like she's lucky to be here, so.
yeah.
I got a note from her today thanking us for talking about Florida.
Mhm. You know, it's just that everybody is speculating what's going to happen, and nobody really want to put the time and effort to figure out what's going on. Some people say it's too early, other people say that, but you can tell by the areas how it's going to happen or not.
Well, they have to ask the right people.
Yeah. And nobody wants to do that neither.
Why, so why
Otherwise
not?
you
Why
know,
not?
otherwise they'd be here.
Why don't they want to ask, Oscar?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. I really ask them, I ask questions all the time to people, and they think that or they just ignore you, or they don't want to know. They think that they are independent, that they don't need help or anybody, they can figure out everything. And the sad thing that they do the things and don't go well, and they're the first ones to be complaining about it. And you go like you know, we try to help you, we try to ask you, try to figure out things, and people don't want to listen to people.
I mean, we've heard for years that artists are afraid to talk to the directors, and I'm still trying to find out why that's true. We talk to artists all day, every day when we're open for applications. We talk to them all year. It's just we don't get phone calls except for when we're open. I don't understand why.
They're just afraid that, let me just put it to you this way. I don't know for sure this, but I've been told that Erin Malloy doesn't like me. And to this day, I don't know what I did to her. So it's like I think that, but that never stopping me talking to other people or directors. But some people are afraid that if you talk to the director, then you must say the wrong thing. The next thing you know, you're blacklisted from the show.
Huh?
Which,
Paranoia.
and so and she, opposite what people say, she actually hold grudges. So I don't know. I don't know what I did, and I'm firm believer of that. She must say opposite, but I don't know.
Oh,
But you know, and that's what everybody says in general. I don't talk to directors because I don't want to say the wrong thing, or I only talk to them when good things happen. When bad things happen, they don't want to say it either. And that is well, like how they going to improve. Actually, Amy Amder, or her assistant, she shoot me out on Bird Ridge because she put me next to a sponsor and that was playing music all day long, really loud, and I never say anything to them. And I just told her on the next show, and she told me, you should have told me at the show, you know, this doesn't help you. You're being stupid. You know, if something bugs you, come to talk to me. So, because they're supposed to be playing music that loud. Because if you cannot hear your customer, how the hell are you supposed to sell something?
well, it is helpful to know in the moment. I have to
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can't be everywhere, and so if artists don't tell us, we may or may not see something.
if you're a hands-on director, yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all my friends that are directors are hands-on directors. I mean, that's the world that we travel in, so.
But you know, you live and learn, right? Okay.
I think the only blacklist or grudge that we have is when, speaking for Art Fest, is if the artist is in fact not making their work.
Oh,
And we have a list of that.
that's awesome.
We have a list of, a very short list. If an artist chewed out one of our staff members, odds aren't good for them in the future. If they screamed and swore at our staff, you know, those people work really hard to produce a great show.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know that we have any. But for
Steve
sure,
Barry,
if
you still have a chance.
Pardon
Hey,
me?
listen,
Hey,
I
Barry's done his share of talking to our staff in an interesting fashion. But he still
try
gets
not-
in. He still
I try
gets
not to
in.
be, listen, Sharon, I try not to be too obnoxious. And afterwards, I always feel guilty. So no matter what happens there, and it's nothing personal. I just want, I love the people. I love the volunteers. You know what? It's the same people. First of all, I love the way the show's run. Okay. I love all the volunteers. They're great. They remember me from year to year. In fact, some of the older ones, I'm happy to see that they're still alive, and you know who I'm talking about. So, plus the problem is you drive like 1,600 miles.
Right.
So sometimes I'm a little more cranky than I normally am.
We get that. We get that.
I'm a sweetheart. I'm actually a sweetheart.
And we still let you in, when you get in. So obviously not blacklist. But if you start, if
I'm
you
not.
start selling work that you don't make, then you're out of luck.
That'll
So,
never happen. I'm a
I know.
purist. So Sharon, because I did make some comments to somebody that, like, I bet you they're not letting me into your show because I behaved badly. So you're telling me that, okay, so I got away. So this year, if I should be in, because we don't know yet, I'll be Mr. Sweetheart. I promise.
Hey,
I'm
we
telling you.
have a new executive director. You need to be nice to her. She is a wonderful person.
I will
They
be.
do great things for the art festival. I've known her a long time. She is awesome, absolutely awesome. And they are working right through this hurricane damage. So
Yeah.
you weren't here when I started. That I'm over here on the East Coast resting up for a couple of days so I can be more supportive when I go back. But they have worked straight through. So
Yeah, I bet. Actually, okay. I thought, I'm in I'm in a central time zone. I'm in between Louisville, Kentucky and Nashville, Tennessee. And I was intending to get on, and I'm looking at my phone, which says 3:38, and I'm looking on the laptop and it says 4:38. And I went, wait a minute, that's Eastern time. Oh, I missed a half hour. That's why I'm on now. So you're right. And the fact that you're here, that would be something I would ask. How is it in Fort Myers?
So I came partly because you've probably seen on various forums and certainly on the news, comments that all of Fort Myers is wiped out, or things like Florida is, which isn't true.
I know.
Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Captiva have had unbelievable damage, are in very bad shape. But that's a long ways from Fort Myers. In a hurricane, it matters. And downtown, we've had wind and we had storm surge that filled our streets with water, 3 or 4 feet. And we have some residual mud that's being cleaned up. But other than that, we're in great shape. We're in
Yeah.
great shape.
You know,
Our
it's funny.
office-
I've had these conversations with people, you know, artists, and they go, "Oh yeah, Fort Myers," and I go, "No, no, no, Fort Myers Beach. They're not even close to each other. They're 30 miles away from each other." So yeah, I suspected that was the case. It's nice to hear that you know, that it's okay. You know.
Yeah, you can, if you were down on our festival site along the river there, the boats are messed up in the marina. But if you look at the park and the street, there's some mud around, but it'll be gone in a couple of weeks. I mean, other than having a little bit of mud in the gutters, we could have an art show next week. I mean, it's not that dismal in town. So I've been commenting every time I see one of those comments, but that's not the case. Because we don't want people thinking that. MSNBC and CNN didn't do us any favors. They kept showing pictures of the beach and calling it Fort Myers.
Yeah.
They have since fixed that. They're not doing that now, but they were in the beginning.
Yeah,
So-
I've seen those pictures, and I said, "Well, I have a hard time. I cannot watch MSNBC. I can watch CNN sometimes, but yeah, I saw those pictures, and I'm going, that's not Fort Myers. That's Fort Myers
That's the
Beach. Yeah, the boats up against the you know, the viaduct over the water. You know, I
Oh,
saw
actually,
that. I
those
mean,
boats,
yeah.
some of those boats, those are downtown. That is the river at Legacy Harbor, and all of its floating docks broke loose.
Mhm.
And those 50, 60-foot yachts are all piled up on each other by the bridge.
Wow.
And they have to come clean those out. But again, that's not going to affect the art show. I mean, it's a tragedy for those boat owners, but
You know,
That's why
the
they got
last
insurance.
time. Go on. I don't want to dominate the conversation. So.
No, it's fine.
Oh,
We've
right.
been
You can
talking.
make up for the half hour you lost.
Okay. So, all right. So, so listen, the last time the conditions were like this, it was 2004. It was, I forgot the name of the storm, but people
Sandy?
had gotten their insurance money right before the Florida season. It was absolutely my best Florida year ever. I've already started making pieces. You know, I'm going to have great work and a lot of it because I hate to profit from their tragedy, but this is the way it was, and I'm expecting it to be the same.
I
There's a lot
said
of
before you got here, Barry, that my opinion currently, ask me again in another month, but currently is, I didn't think about insurance checks, but the pent up demand and the desire to have your life be more normal and
Mhm,
get artwork back in your house and enjoy seeing it and all that,
mhm,
to me is somewhat like the shows that came back first after COVID. Those of
mhm.
us who continue to happen, that demand was great. And I think we're going to see that again.
I agree.
Ask me again in a month if I still think that, but right now that's what I think.
It'll be even more pent up demand, and it'll be more eager for us to be there. That's what I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So we're doing all our planning like normal. We're during the end of the week, first of next week. We had to switch to digital because there's no way to convene an in-person jury.
Mhm.
So, which was our preference, but we're going all like we normally do. So our office is fine, our staff's fine, our warehouse is fine, our volunteers are fine. So
So Sharon, how many applications did you get?
Close to 700. So we're not quite back to our pre-COVID numbers. Our pre-COVID numbers were like, depending on the year, 924, 956, you know, in the low nines. So we're not quite back there. But it's really interesting to me that the applications from new artists, new to us, and whether they're new totally to festivals, I don't know that because we haven't surveyed that yet, but new to us, showed a huge increase from the past, huge. Out of that 900, close to 200 are artists we've never heard of before and not in our database. And that's odd. That's very odd. So, and most of them, there are some who really need some classes on photography and booth, Linda.
Yeah.
There's some of those.
Yeah.
Some of those we've tried to help, but you know, educate them. But by and large, those applications coming from artists who are new to us are great. There's strong work and there's strong boosts. So I think that's really interesting. So we have that, and then we have a strong contingent of our strong long-term artists, people who tend to always get in, they always score high. And then a bunch in the middle. But the amount of new artists is just really amazing.
How many
Is that
booths?
because there's not as many old ones, more of the older ones dropped out?
We're going to survey that because I think there's a question about that. How many of those that are missing, so to speak, right? Because we can do that in our
Retired.
database. Retired. How many of them retired and were planning to retire? How many of them retired because they got pushed by COVID to retire? How many were we effective, we and other people effective in helping teach how to do good business online? And now they're not coming. I don't know. But we'll survey that. And
Well,
see if we
maybe
can figure that out.
some of the new ones kind of picked up their art or moved it from
Right,
hobby to, you know,
Right.
at least semi-pro during
we've
COVID.
heard that comment.
So,
I can answer some of that because I've actually asked people or talked to people, and they tell me that they think that Florida's it's not going to be good this year because of all the damage and stuff. and I have to tell them that, well, my experience is that just the opposite. So if they're not applying, it's because they don't think that it's going to be any good.
But we closed for applications on September 9th, long
Yeah.
before the hurricane was even in.
Oh yeah,
So
good point.
we've been closed for what, 2-3 weeks. So I don't think that affected us. I think it has
Okay.
more to do with retirement or online or change their focus of business or something. Because some of the ones that are missing from applying are long-term artists that have applied with us. And I've seen other places, people I've known for, 15, 20 years. I'm like, where are you? I actually sent some emails towards the end of our application time to some of those people basically saying, where are you? I mean, I didn't say it quite like that, but like, you always apply. I mean, we always get in. Where's your application? And some of them have retired and some have become really good online. I probably sent about 20 of those. So
From what I talked to other people, they say that the people that did figure out how to handle the COVID situation, they realize that they can do less shows, they can stay closer to home, and they figure out other ways to supplement their income so they don't have to do that many shows. And they only apply to the really good ones and then take a dice. But I can go like, how can you just go with 12 shows or 15 shows in a year? And what happens if you don't get into one of those? Or what happens if that show gets rained out and then nobody show up? Something like that. So, but that's the mentality that I keep hearing over and over and over. And this is from people that are well established that I think they do really, really good in any show. And other ones are saying that they're not making enough money to come to Florida to justify the trip. So
Have
Yeah,
you
what
heard
is
of
it?
any artists that got wiped out because of the hurricane?
no, because even Daniel Lee, I think is his name. He is the one that makes the figurines and the books. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. He's from Florida, and he didn't do Coconut Grove this past weekend because his house was in Florida in the flooding area. So he has to move everything out of the area for that weekend. So I think that it's clear. The Glenn Woods and the Pottery Boys.
Yeah, how are they?
Yeah, they said that the house was fine over there, that they are fine, but they was over here that nothing happened to the house in Florida.
Yeah, I don't think so. They're further north.
Yeah, so they was grateful for that.
I was told by somebody from Miami that it missed Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Totally missing. It was totally. It was like nothing happened over there.
Most of the East Coast, that's true. Before you got here, Barry, I'm currently in Delray, north of Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And there's no damage over here, none. It's all very isolated, it's the West Coast. And even within the West Coast, it's very pockety.
Mhm.
So we feel for our neighbors, but it's very, very pockety.
Mhm.
I will say goodbye this week. I'll see you next week.
Okay. Be good.
Bye, Frank.
Frank.
Be good, Frank.
I will try.
Hey, I always say people be good when I'm saying goodbye. It's a normal thing for me to say that.
Let's say be good, and if you can't be good, be careful.
Yeah. I always say that to and some people look at me weird, and all of my friends say he always says that. It's his way to say goodbye.
Oh, good wishes.
So Oscar,
Yes.
last week you were like, I didn't know this, but you were telling me who the judges were for Coconut Grove.
Uh-huh.
And we were making comments like I was already like going, well, that's that leaves me out. Well, that wasn't true. But Thursday is what they're sending out the
Send it out on Thursday? No, on Fridays?
Wow.
the 6th, whatever the 6th is. What's the 6th?
She don't send it,
Thursday.
I was send I was send the notification on Friday. What the hell she's thinking?
Friday, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they might God, she I saw her. She came to the Camille came to
St. James.
St. James Court, and I had to talk with. But of course, because of course I'm saying, oh no, why did you have those people judge during the show, and that stuff. But I was being funny about it, and she did tell me that there's some long-term people that got rejected from the show, and they were thinking of postponing the announcement like a week because she wants to talk to her board, because it's possible that people on their board will say, oh no, you have to let them in because they've done it for 30 years, and it's Pete, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but it's somebody that we all know got rejected from Coconut Grove. So there might be some fallout, there might be some controversy because of that. And if she postpones it, it's because she's asking permission for the board. She's going to tell the board what happened, and
you know what? I personally, even if I don't get in, this has nothing to do with if I get in or not get in, because I've been done the show for maybe 6-7 years in a row now.
yeah.
It's sometimes the shows need to get new people in, and you have to figure out what to do next year to get it back in. It's nothing wrong with that. It's you always have a B show waiting for the A show. You kind of go. You kind of. I don't know. Like I say, I know David. They can get to any show.
Yes.
I know Will Armstrong, I know
Yeah,
uh
yeah,
Douglas Sewell, no,
yeah.
they can get to any show that they want. So I always have to apply to A, B show, and I
Mhm.
consider myself a B artist or maybe a C artist. So I don't think I'm the top
And
of the block.
time out. You're an A artist. You're not a
No,
B artist.
Yeah, how common is it for the show to go accept people that the jurors rejected?
It happens more than you think.
it shouldn't be happening, to be honest with
Wait a
you.
minute. Having been one of those persons that have gotten into a show after I got rejected because I know how to get myself into this show, it does happen.
I know it does happen, but it should not be happening. I got another painter friend of mine that she goes to people and she gets in. So it's not. I know that happens.
Well, listen, one of the ways to do that is you show up at the show. And
And,
because there's always last minute cancellations, and they want to fill the space. And you know what? Artists should want them to fill the space because it doesn't look good to have an empty space. So, if you've done the show before and they know you and you get rejected, it still behooves you to show up if you really want to do it because there's going to be a space, whether they pick you or not, or me, whatever, that's another story. But, but if you don't show up, you're not going to get in. So, and if you're in Florida, like me, you come 1,600 miles. What are you going to do that weekend? Spend money? I mean, go to the show. If you don't get in, just sort of hang out and talk to your friends. I mean, you go because the possibility exists that you can get in if you want to do the show.
There was a time when Fort Worth had 2 juries
Yeah.
back in the 90s,
Okay.
because I got in 2 years in a row on the second jury, but got rejected on the first jury.
Why'd they have 2 juries?
I have no idea.
Oh.
That might have been before Jay took it over.
Maybe.
Well, having done Fort Worth, there's some questionable stuff there that they get in every year and they're locals. So there's a certain amount of locals that they make allowances for. Or at least that's what I think. I mean, I don't really know, but when you see the word,
Is it in their rules? Like in our case, in our prospectus is that we hold back, I think it's 10%. I'd have to look up and see what the number is. But we hold back out of the number of artists we're gonna accept, we hold back 10%. That we can either, when we were doing awards, if you were a best of show, it's still true if you've been a best of show winner with us ever, then you're guaranteed a spot. And after that, it's, when I was there, that 10% is because I said so. I mean, because, I invite somebody and it's just because I said so. They tend to be people who have gotten in anyway. So if the show's prospectus says
Yeah.
that they're holding back 10% or 20 slots or
Mhm.
award winners or whatever, then there may be some that get in and didn't make it through the jury, which is an odd thing, right? You want an award, then don't make it through the jury. But
Happened to me.
but if they're silent on it, then that's different. But in our case, I think it says 10%.
Yeah, State College, I don't know if they still do it, but they had a Center County section just for people that lived in the county where the show is.
Right.
Hey, there's something to be said for loyalty. If you support a show for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, there should be some allowance, or there could be, I mean, should be, I don't know, but there could be some allowance for those people to get, to get in because, they supported the show. And sometimes the show gets a bad reputation for a year or two and has to refix. And if you're loyal, you go anyway, you support it. I think that should be rewarded. It's my feeling.
Yeah, I agree with you because like a lot of people told me they want to do Uptown this year, Uptown Affair, because everything was going on with her. And my first reaction was, when I needed help, they offered me to help me. Why I'm not going to return the favor directly or indirectly when they need people to show up to the show, regardless how the show went. You know, that's one show that I kind of figure out what happened. But I can tell you one thing: I would never want to be in the mall in that show ever again.
Yeah, listen, I won't do that show because every year there's some crime. There's some booths get slashed, pieces get stolen, and they don't fix it. I mean, we're talking about 10 years of this.
I
And
don't
every
think-
year there's something. Don't you think that eventually that you would fix that? You would hire the right amount of security. Um, you know,
Trust
and
me, I was one of those people that got pieces stolen this year. So
I know. Don't you hate it? Don't you feel violated?
it happens, you know.
No.
You know,
See, you say that. That's not acceptable.
I know it's not acceptable, but you know, you know, and you know, the only thing that I told them that I'm going, if I do the show, I need to be on the street. I cannot be in the mall.
On
anymore.
the mall.
Yeah.
But booths on the street got their booths slashed in years past and paintings stolen. So doesn't matter where you are.
It usually happen in the mall, usually never in the street. You know, things have changed a little bit, but you know,
Okay.
and they changed the layout. They hung out all the booth facing in the street each other. They're not having like backs facing each other. So
You're gonna go there?
if they let me in again, I will do Uptown again. You know, I like I say, there's some shows that like the show that I do in here in Chicago, in like Ranch West End. It's one of the first shows I ever did, and I keep doing it. You know, it's a little show, 60 artists, but it was only one day this year, and I pick up $8,000, so I'm not going to complain about it.
Good. That's good.
You know, so and the next show that Amy put in Bird Ridge, I got people that see me in like Ranch and came and bought from me in Bird Ridge. That's what the show went well.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the fact that I got 2 orders from Crassel that same weekend, but I don't ask me that. That's
You're going back to Crassel
I would not go back to Crassel. I can tell you that.
after all that. Yeah.
No, I'm not going back to that. I know.
Did anybody see that discussion on the definition of photography
And where
in one of the Facebook groups?
I need to
No.
go and look at now.
Painters complaining that photographers get in shows, but they can't sell reproductions.
I'm for that.
You know, photography is a reproduction. It's a
What if-
reproduction art.
Why don't I want to hear the discussion about really bad paintings getting into shows and charging $6,000-7,000 for a really bad painting and them selling them. They shouldn't even be allowed to get in, and there should be somebody walking around going, "Those aren't any good. You know, you can't sell those." Does that happen? I want to hear that discussion.
Yeah, but if somebody's willing to buy it,
So what? Yeah. So what?
what do you mean, so what?
Hey,
There's
we're
no
the
accounting
arbiters.
for taste.
We're the arbiters of good. I can't believe I'm going to say this. We're the arbiters of quality. So, you know.
I just saw
Hey,
it.
listen, hey, Sharon is, you know, whatever they do, the artists are really good at Fort Myers. There's no schlock stuff there. Well, maybe something occasionally might get slip
yeah.
through, but by and large, the quality is as good as any of the shows in the country, any of the good shows. It's true.
Thank
I
you.
know because I've been there.
You know, you know when I know when I'm in a good show, when I walk the show, and I feel lucky or blessed to be in that group of artists.
Yeah,
That's when you get that feeling.
yeah.
Regardless how your sales go, that's a good feeling. At least I feel like I start to cut it now, and I'm in the right track.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, likewise, it really upsets me if I go to a show, usually a much lower level show than us. Well, always a much level, which Florida has a lot of.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, every week, at least one. That I see good artists at shows they should not be at. That it's bad for their brand, you know. And so I usually stop and talk to them, and I say, "What? Why are you here? I mean, you're too good to be here." And oh well, I had to fill on the weekend. And my answer is always, well, I understand that. You're down here and you want to make money on the weekend. I get that. On the other hand, it's bad for your brand. You know, that
Yeah.
your work's better than this. And particularly those who, they may lower their prices slightly because of the show. And I'm like,
No,
I know
don't
I'm
do
not you
that.
trying to make the money, but on the other hand, right, it's, yeah, too good for that.
They're actually sharing their reasons for that. And one of them was you brought up, if you have if like, I want to do something every weekend in Florida. I don't want to just hang around on the weekend
Mhm.
because I'm spending money during the week.
Right,
If
right.
in the very least, I want to pay for my week, you know? So I'm there and I could fool around. I could do nothing, but but I also could do the show. So, okay. The other thing is if they have prize money and you're really good, you can win the prize money. So there's that, and that's a line on your resume. Um, so there are
It's
other,
hard.
yeah, and it might be a
Hard.
financial. You have to do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So and then you hope that nobody sees you, so that so there's that.
Yeah,
I don't have that.
it's hard. It's hard.
I don't have that problem. I just go out and take pictures that day.
Yes, and I've been with you when you've done that, so I know that.
So I just go out and take pictures, and I don't have to worry about it. I agree with you. It's better. Sometimes it's better not to do a show than do a show. So because sometimes it's not even worth it, and if you have to sacrifice that much, it's not.
There are clues. Like when the title of the show is Bob's Tool and Die, or like plumbing supply, uh art fair, you kind of know that it's like maybe I should stay away from that. Or another one, wine and food festival. That just means that you're just like there because they want something diversity or something, something else.
So you're making fun of Bill Cunny?
I wouldn't bring up any names. I'm not
Oh, you
bringing up
just
any names.
you're
Hey,
doing it.
I did one Bill Kenny show. I've actually fulfilled that requirement that everybody has to do at least, not at least, they have to do one Bill Kenny show, or so they
I
get.
try to do one with him every year, believe
It
it or
was
not.
okay. Oh no, I did one period. After years and years of him shaming me, trying to shame me, saying, "How come you don't do any of my shows?" You know.
I do one with them, but it's kind of because I spend the weekend with Steve Wilworka, George and Daryl, and I forgot the other people. They work for him, so it's kind of hard
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
do it.
yeah. No comment.
Yeah, it's better not.
Hey, I'm glad you brought up
And
Daryl
George,
and George.
yeah.
You know, if you don't want to do Uptown, the next weekend is a small show in Economowoc, Wisconsin, and it's a high-end clientele. And I
Wait,
liked it.
wait. Let's go back. Larry,
Yeah.
do you remember everything that he was saying? That he was not to go to that show, that nobody does that show. You remember that conversation we
Who
have?
said
We have
that?
to pull out the video.
Who are we talking about?
You.
My
Oh,
mind is blank.
oh, that's really funny. That's really funny because listen, I woke up the morning of the show. I can drive there. The morning of setup. The setup was a late setup, and it said rain all 3 days of the weekend. And I'm going, and I actually did say I'm not going. I'm gonna call them up and cancel. But then I get my materials about 45 minutes from there, and I had to go anyway. So I could have gone the morning of that morning, or I could have like gone next week, during the week when it was sunny. So I thought, well, I got to go anyway, so I'll just go down there. And I know what I said, but so I went there, and there was no rain the whole time, and I said, well, I'll do the show. I did, so I did it, and they bought me off. I won an award, so and I did pretty well. And I went, well, maybe I was wrong about that. And I willed the rain away, which I can do. I have some powers. So I
Just
actually did it, and it wasn't bad. And also, I talked to a lot of people like Jim Wilbat. All these people were there that have done the show for years, and I'm going, well, it can't be that bad. They come back. So, but and I was right next to Daryl and George, so or right across from them. So that you reminded me of that, that
Yeah,
group.
that
And Steve
weekend
was
I
there.
yeah, that weekend I'm in Wisconsin and Lexington, Kentucky.
Mhm.
I do the Woodland show in Lexington, Kentucky, which is
Yeah.
it's a little show. I think it's 150 artists, but I always tend to do well in that show. This year I have my best show ever in there.
Great.
Yeah.
So speaking of little shows, Oscar and Barry, have you both applied for Babcock Ranch, which is the second weekend in March?
Hopefully, I'm going to be gone by then.
Ah,
My plan is to leave. Look, I'm getting pressure from Bonnie Blanford because of her. She has this garage sale, and I know everybody, but she, it's the weekend after Coconut Grove or whatever, whatever's going on. So,
oh,
you know, so
in February.
yeah,
It's an indoor show. It's a 1 day
I know.
indoor show. So
you know what? I think it's 2 days,
uh,
or is
one-
it
Yeah,
one? I don't know what.
we
I don't
set up on
remember.
Friday. We set up on Friday.
Yeah.
Sell
Yeah.
on Saturday, and then we go home. And then you drive back to Florida.
I'm finding that no, that's really funny. In theory, that works, but in reality, I'm gonna drive 1,200 miles back to Florida or 1,400 miles. No, I don't think so.
Yes, you
So
will.
Well, if you're still in Florida, of course, the deadline is November 9th, so it's you're talking about smaller and boutique shows. That's what it is. We
Okay.
don't put the event on. We provide we promote and select the artists. We jury the artists. Babcock Ranch does the event, but we do the artist work. So
okay, Sharon, I'm going to ask you a question about this. I want a total like it's just, let's say it's just you and I talking privately, and I'm not going to tell anybody what you say. What's it like, the Babcock
Babcock
show?
Ranch, Babcock Ranch.
Yeah.
It's a really nice small show. It's on its 5th year, I think, 5 or 6. And we've always done the artists. It is Babcock Ranch is building. It's a new city, and they're building a town.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
And
Okay.
not just a subdivision, but a town.
Mhm.
So artists tell me that they do really well, largely because it's centered in this town. You can drive out there from Fort Myers and other places too, and people do,
Mhm.
but it's centered in this new town in which all the houses are brand new. And so everybody moving in has empty walls. And so they said that they do quite well because people are moving into new spaces. That's the story I get. We have a really high repeat rate out there for artists applying. So I'm assuming that they're doing well, man, right? Because nobody ever tells the directors the truth about how much they sell. So
That's right.
right.
That's true.
So all I know is that they reapply. They seem happy when they're there. I see a lot of artwork walking out.
Well, I'm going to apply because I always get the email from that show. And
It comes from us. Yep.
Okay.
That's Sharon.
Okay.
Sharon's bombarding you with Babcock Ranch emails.
Hey, but
Yeah.
you know what I heard in the news?
And we're about to bombard you with Facebook ads too, so you're warned.
Well, my Facebook site got stolen, and I've tried. Well, getting it back's impossible, but even new ones, somebody will say, "Oh no, that's not him." So a week later, I've tried 3 times. I can't get back on Facebook, which doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like it that I've gone 6 months without communicating with people, so I won't see any of those. But I do see your emails that you send out
Yep.
every
Yeah,
other
those
day.
Berman.
Yeah.
They're not that often.
I hope you think it's okay that I can tease you.
Yeah.
It's a sign of affection.
When we get close to the deadline, there probably are pretty frequent.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
because artists couldn't possibly apply until the last couple of days. I mean,
You know what?
that would just be impossible.
I'm guilty of that myself. Sometimes I see the application and SAP, they come out and I fill out the application, but I don't pay it until the one is due.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so come in our office on our end, right? Out of that artist applications, we probably get 2/3 of them the last 4 days. And then we have to process all that through Zap and all that get ready to jury. It's a pain in the butt versus
Yeah.
if you would apply,
You know,
spread out.
there's an art to it because you don't want to apply too early, but you don't want to apply at the last minute. So I always do like between 10 days and
Wow.
2 weeks. And you're
Yeah.
right, kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
I
but you
think.
don't know the order the images are going to get viewed
Right.
in.
That's true.
You don't. All the
So,
shows. we
I
do
don't
French,
care.
it just puts a huge workload on all shows, not just us. That
Yeah.
so many artists apply at the end. It's like, okay, so we
Well,
make overtime to get them all processed.
I tried to
Mhm.
send the application, though. I tried to pay them at least 1 month before they are due. So I fill it up right away, so I don't forget. And then it's for money flow. I just apply
Yeah,
it
Mhm.
a month. So,
Yeah.
like right now, the next batch I'm going to pay is anything that's due in December. So, and everything in Florida, I send the application in August, like a first week of August. And I
Right.
was like, I need to have time to tweak some of them. So it's going to, the thing I'm looking for is like the one in Naples. I sent that with the old images, and the last show in Naples is with the new set of images, and I want to see if it makes any difference. So that will be a good test to find out. So
Another thing is that I don't know about other shows. Well, I know some do this, but that when we're getting the images in earlier,
Mhm.
if we see, probably not from you, right, but from newer artists, if we see that the booth slide, for example, has your name in it, or somebody standing in the booth or all that, then we have time to contact the artist and say, there's time for us to make you incomplete if you'd like to fix this booth image.
Oh,
Um,
God. I
But when
know.
everybody applies right at the end, we don't have time to do that. Or some artists, it doesn't happen much anymore, but when Zap was younger, images would come in upside down or, sideways or things like that. That doesn't happen much now, but we have time to help the artist fix it. But when they all come at the end, we don't have time.
Do
to
you
write
eliminate
back.
them? If there's a name in the boost slot, do you eliminate them immediately?
We never eliminate anybody immediately. They'll go through the jury. They won't get in the end. But we don't
Oh,
pull
I
it.
see. Okay.
It's too much work to pull the images out. So they all go through. We had a handful this year of newer artists
Mhm.
that when I saw them come in, I'm like, there is no way in hell. I mean, there's just no way. The work's not high. There's just not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I think we should take these out because it's gonna be embarrassing when the jurors see them. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, for us, right? And then I'm like, we'll just pass them all through. It's too much work to separate them. They won't get in the end
Mhm.
because it's a rules violation. Pesky thing, those rules.
I've never sent anything in like that, but I had a booth image and I ended up sending, and I looked and I went, oh no, I had a thing on the wall and it was very small, but it had my name on it, very small. You could blow it up and maybe see it. It was so small it would have been blurry. So I sent it to Larry and Larry covered it up. And
Yeah, but what
it's
was
great.
worse was the Starbucks coffee cup that you
Oh,
left in the booth.
see, I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny. I would have left that in there, Larry. But I'm glad you took it out. I'm glad you took it out. But I didn't even, I took the photograph. I didn't even notice that the Starbucks cup and the thing on the wall. So
That's not the first time I've gotten booth pictures with a coffee cup in it.
yeah. What
Oh,
about that Game of Thrones
had one.
episode
Yeah,
where there was a Starbucks cup
Yeah.
on the table
I don't watch that.
and nobody caught it?
well, as soon as it showed, they did.
Oh yeah. Gave people something to talk about for a week. That watched Game of Thrones.
I don't
Really?
watch it, but I saw that picture.
Yeah. Funny.
Starbucks might have paid a whole lot of money for that cup to be sitting there.
You think that was like done like that? Or you think it was a mistake? That's funny.
Oh, I
That's
don't watch the show, but there's a lot of that in shows There's no accent to Starbucks or
That's-
Dunkin'.
Oh, no, they're paying for placement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
paying a lot
Like-
of money for that.
If they're using a camera, it's Nikon versus Canon.
All right, they paid for that, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Skittles versus M&M or ET.
Yeah.
So I got my new iPhone with the new iPhone Pro with the really nice camera. I haven't used it.
is that the 14 or the 13?
The 14 Pro. It was a freebie. You know, you sign on. Well, you don't sign on, but you tell them you'll be with them for another 2 years. Which for me, I'm not gonna switch. I'm just gonna have my provider and phone number. So, they give you the phone.
Oh, Larry, by the way, today I figured out the first bug about the new iOS system in the phone. You have to, if you shoot video, when you do the upgrade, you have to go back into the preference and activate the video. It goes to just to photo, doesn't do video. So it was spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. So.
Well, and with the 14, they have that new camera,
Mm-hmm.
but it only gives you the higher megapixels if you shoot RAW. Not if you shoot JPEG or HEIC files.
I don't even know what mine does.
Yeah, I'm not going to upgrade my phone until probably next year. I just upgraded this past winter. So.
I turned on the phone to see maybe I could just take a quick picture. No, they have this whole thing set up. You have to set it up. You have to go through this whole process, which I haven't had time to do. So I haven't taken any photos, but I just want to turn on and take a photo. You couldn't do that anymore. I have to,
Yeah, and once you set up the phone, it's going to wipe out your old phone. So you want to do it when you have the time to do it.
What's it going to wipe out? It's just
once you activate the new phone, your old phone is not going to work.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the old phone. I'm talking about the new phone.
Yeah, but once you activate that new phone completely, your old phone is going to be useless.
Yeah, but you can still back it up.
Camera.
I've done it. I already did it.
Yeah.
And you can use it to get online. You just can't use it for anything, any phone thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
my son has several. They paid like $20 for on Amazon.
I want one of those.
Yeah, well, they're outdated and he's not hooking them up to the internet. He's using them as,
You can
online
use
stuff.
Yeah, you can use it to access the internet, and you
Yeah.
can use it to what
You
else?
can't use it to access the internet unless you're going through your router.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh, through Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I haven't tested the network. I haven't tested that, so I don't know. But I know that I could do that through Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
But I can't make a phone call with that old phone.
right. And
No,
you can't get it. You can't use it for cellular to get online.
you can use it as a phone if you go through Google.
It's a Wi-Fi phone.
Yeah, something like that, because he was using it that way because I don't know what he was doing, some sort of game or something.
Yeah,
So
you can
it was
use
helpful to have more than one entry into it.
you can use it as a to watch video. You can use
Yeah.
it for certain things, as a music player. The old phone. In fact, they used to have these Windows phones, and you could buy one for $20, and it was a really nice phone. It's just that, well, they would come out with one. I think it was a Nokia. They'd come out with one, and nobody would buy it. So 6 months later, they'd be giving them away. But so you don't use it as the phone. Like it was an AT&T phone. You don't use the phone thing. You don't even you don't activate anything. You just use the storage. In fact, you could put a storage like a 10 gigabyte or whatever 100 gigabyte SIM card in there, or like a storage card in, and just use it for music or videos or whatever you want to put on there, but you wouldn't use it as a phone. And it was actually a high-end, like better than an iPod, you know.
So unless anybody has no thoughts about Florida, I am gonna go to happy hour. It's 5:30.
Okay, enjoy that.
It's
Oh,
time
what?
it's time we should all go for happy hour.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, it's only
Sounds good.
2:20 here.
thank you so much, Sharon. I really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Sharon.
We'll come back in and we'll be in touch with everybody. So watch your
Okay.
email. We send those pesky things out. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right, bye.
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 All right, I guess we're gonna end the meeting.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you, Larry.